Hello and welcome to RØDECaster User Meetup, where all the RØDECaster users, hopefully from the whole world, would congregate and then talk about all things RØDECasters. Quite the opposite right now. Anyway, welcome to RØDECaster User Meetup. This is jokingly aside. I've always wondered before I start my live stream, it's like, when is it gonna happen? I've been doing this for over a month on YouTube, but have been doing this for over 3 years on Clubhouse. And every time I start the room, I always thought, what if nobody showed up? And this is the moment. So. But that's okay. I have stuff to talk about. A quick reminder of what this is. This channel is called Learner to Learner, and what we do here is to encourage everybody who wants to learn about audio. Hopefully in the future, it's going to be more than audio related topics and subjects that we'll be talking about. But this particular show, RØDECaster User Meetup, is for all the RØDECaster users. So RØDECaster Pro Original, RØDECaster Pro 2, as well as RØDECaster Duo, where people who are actively using the equipment can come together and share tips, ask questions, learn from each other. Hence, Learner to Learner. And we also encourage those of you who are researching or before you even buy a RØDECaster and you're thinking about getting one and are wondering how to do A or B, how do you do it? How do you most efficiently utilize your RØDECasters? You can also join us to participate in this learning process together with all the other RØDECaster users. One quick thing to let you know is that I will be on vacation and there will be a little bit of a change because this happens every Tuesday. This RØDECaster User Meetup happens every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, but it will be a little bit different because I will be on vacation for about a month. So you'll find the schedule for my holiday schedule slightly different. It'll be adjusted starting next week. You'll see that the schedule will be taken over by Sean. Sean is a friend of mine who's been doing this with me on Clubhouse for many years, over 3 years. And he's an audio engineer with lots of experience and would love to share his knowledge with us generously. And he will be kindly hosting us, the conversation, starting from next week. So July 16th, I will still be here. However, he will be hosting it on Riverside. And he's using this new Riverside streaming feature, as well as helping us host this conversation. It will not be live streamed on YouTube as we typically do right now, but it will be, you can watch it live on his Riverside link. All that link information will be reflected here on the top of this, on the website. So if you go to learnertolearner.com, from here you will be able to get information on upcoming shows. Right now you can watch it live, but then after when Sean is hosting the show, he will be these links, the watch live on YouTube link, as well as the call in with Zoom link, will be updated to his Riverside links. I think I've set it so that it comes live after today. So tomorrow onward, you should see the website having Sean's data information on the website. So feel free to go check that out. Now, another thing to keep in mind also, hi Sarah, I see Sarah in the chat. In Clubhouse. Hi, Sarah. Other than that, I also want to remind you that, or at least let you know, that what you can do is, if you want to participate in this conversation, you can either join us live by go to the chat and just type in your chat information, your question in the chat, or you can also join us live. So how you do that is, of course, this only pertains to when I am hosting the show. It'll be a little bit different, but the link will still be there, but it won't be a Zoom call. It'll be a Riverside link. You can go to learner2learner.com. Even when Sean is hosting, you can still do that. Click on the call-in link. His will be Riverside, mine's Zoom, during this period of time where he is going to be guest hosting the conversation for us for the next several weeks. And of course, he's just doing this out of his own kindness and generosity. And if there's any schedule conflict, because he does run a business, if the business has needed him, he might not be able to run the show. The link just won't be active. Just be mindful of that. But he will probably let me know also if he's unable to join, so that I can update the schedule. So I will be gone for next week. I'll definitely be joining him. Unless he's unable to. Otherwise, what we had planned on doing was have him actually host the show, and then I'll be with him together co-hosting the show until my trip starts, I guess in 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for this calendar. I've also posted it on my YouTube channel as well, so you can take a look at it. I will be gone until I think I'll come back on the 20 something, and I won't be hosting a show until August the 27th. So it'll be a long while, but all the information will be on the website. And also, in case if I do mute a lot tonight, I'm a little bit under the weather, and my it's felt like a cold is coming, and sometimes I feel okay. Sometimes I would start coughing, or sometimes I would start sneezing. So if any of those things happen, I'll be muting my microphone hopefully in time so that you don't have to endure the cough. Now I'm going to take a sip of water now. Also muted. I actually had a conversation with 2 people today, separately, because what I've been trying to do is trying to find the right target audience, other than letting YouTube's what is it called, algorithm find the right people to watch this show, is to try to also actively I have already been in active participants in a lot of Facebook forums, talking about RØDECaster, answering questions or ask questions in RØDECaster's user groups. And so sometimes when I look at some of the questions that's in there, and it sounded like it's something that I could help, I would reach out and see if I could let them know what the what the answer could be. Or usually what I do is I invite them to come here and chat with me, and that is the quickest way of getting people involved, by having targeting their questions. It's not like that I don't want to answer the question. Sometimes the answer is so long that I would rather them come over to the show so that we can talk a little bit more in depth about it. So there were 2 people, Mike and Nick, both. So I'm going to try to see if I can reach out to them also. Now I hope that my Zoom link is functioning properly. I'm going to reach out to them in case they forget. Going live now if you want to join. Hi, Kunchu from Singapore, Clubhouse. And let me get the message sent to Mike as well. Mike, going live now. And then sending the YouTube link to them in case if they want to watch and participate in this conversation, they can also do so. Lately, and since I don't have any active questions, I don't have any questions coming in right now, I'm going to tell you a story. I've been podcasting since 2004. I'm one of the first 50 podcasters in the world. I can't even remember the exact number because back then nobody kept track. I just remember the first 50 was because Adam Curry was the one who keep track of the list of. There's no iTunes, there's no Spotify, there's no other places for you to look for podcasts. So Adam Curry would have his own website. We will email him. He will keep track of our shows and put our link there. So what I'm trying to say here is like it's been a long time, and one good thing, one new skill that you develop from having a solo podcast for a long time is you seem to be able to find things to talk about. Even when there's nobody to talk to you about anything, you seem to be able just to like keep on going and talking about things. So anyway, that's what's going on. I can always ramble on things. But see, my voice is starting to go. Hopefully. Oh, Nick is here. Okay, it's Nick with the Big Nick Energy Show. I love the title, by the way. Nick, I am seeing your. I'm seeing your comment here. So, I think we'll start off with your question, but I do have a new scene here. This is the saying hi from the Big Nick Energy Show, which I love the name. It's so funny. It's Nick with the Big Nick Energy Show. Love your lighting and excited to hear about this program. Yeah. Now, so yes, see, you always ramp until the content comes to you. This is a new layout. Those of you who watch my stream since I started doing this maybe a month or so ago, you know that I always have different comments showing up in different places, and I thought I will take on questions front and center, not by center, it's right justified. But anyway, Nick, feel free to participate in the chat. If you also want to call in to the show, you can also do so. It might be quicker that way, but it may not always be convenient. So if you are able to call in with the Zoom link, feel free to go to the website learner2learner.com, and it should be pinned up on top on the show right now, because I went into the show earlier and pinned that link. And once you go into the show, you should be able to find a join with Zoom or call in with Zoom link. Once you click on that, it will call either from your phone or your computer using Zoom, and then you will be able to join via video or just audio. It's up to you. So anyway, talking about your question. So Nick was asking if there's a different software other than OBS that he could be using to record his podcast. And Nick, I might have. I have Glenn joining. Okay, Glenn is also here joining us. So I'm gonna. Okay, people are rolling in. Chris just joined us on Clubhouse. Glenn is joining us on Zoom. But I'm gonna go on and answer that question. And Glenn, whenever you're ready, when you have your camera ready, I'll pull you on screen. But Nick asked if he's able to use a different software other than OBS. Hi, Lalo, from Clubhouse, to record his podcast. And I went on to his channel and check on his show a little bit. And what he's doing is, yes, definitely doable. And but he might be wondering what it's all about. So Nick, if you have any question, I'm going to give you a rough idea, a rough, I guess, to gloss over, and maybe I'll ask another user of Ecamm, Glenn, to join in the conversation as well. OBS, transitioning from OBS to Ecamm Live is really the question that he's asking. And I want to see if Glenn can maybe also chime in as well, and see if that's something that he would maybe share some thoughts. I will share mine, and then I will hand the microphone over to Glenn. So the question is Ecamm and transition from OBS to Ecamm. I transition fairly quickly for my podcast. and I find it super useful and easier, much easier to use, to the point where I can do more on my production. As you're seeing here, when we're doing this, and Nick, I don't see a lot of video switching on your end, so it could even be simpler. But if you want to do more without not using OBS allows me to do so much more, because my mind could be on the production rather than making sure things work. My computer is also not the newest and the greatest. It's an M1 MacBook Pro, has it's all specced out, like maxed, not maxed out on the storage, but maxed out on the memory. I have 64 gig of RAM, but it's still an M1, so it's been several years, and so it's not super efficient. But I'm able to make it work, so I can do a whole lot more. As you can see, the setup that I have, the switching. So maybe you can ask the I have a question for you, but if you have any additional question that you want to ask, feel free to drop it in the chat as well. The one question I have for you is, what is your computer that you're using, the Mac that you're currently using? And Nick, if you're still watching, let us know what specs, or approximately, what is it, an Intel Mac? Is it the new Apple Silicon M1, M2, M3, MacBook Pro? Let us know. Or I mean, doesn't even have to be MacBook Pro. It could be a Studio. So that would be something that would be helpful for us to know also. And then if you have more questions, I can show you what it looks like on my side, as on the controller side, what the whole system looks like. Don't let the multi-window confuse you. Make sure I have lots of windows because I utilize all these. You don't have to start with that, especially if you're not changing or switching cameras. So Glenn, what did you use other streaming software prior to using Ecamm, Glenn?
No, I am very new to this, in the sense that on September 30th, October 1st, I knew nothing, and I have just had crash courses, and I've just absorbed myself and immersed myself in this for the last it's going on 8 months now. So
So fairly new.
yeah, I originally bought uh, uh, licenses for both Riverside and for Ecamm,
Uh-huh.
Ecamm Live. I, I have not used either one in a well for an actual podcast. Um, I have learned Riverside inside and out through the YouTube instruction, but I have not use it. Of course, it looks like we're going to get a chance to with Sean in a couple of weeks here. But all my experience is really with Ecamm and setting up scenes and overlays and designing things, and all that is with Ecamm. What I know next to zero about OBS, the only thing I know is that I heard the commentary of one very experienced podcaster that they made recently, and they described OBS as a little bit complicated to use, and that Ecamm was very user friendly in terms of, and much easier to learn, much easier to use, and so in terms of level of difficulty, apparently Ecamm wins. I would say that Ecamm wins because the difference I've found between Ecamm and Riverside is Ecamm is designed to make you look good. You can create whatever world you want to create with Ecamm Live, and that's how your podcast looks good from that perspective. What Riverside has a little bit of an advantage over Ecamm is that um, once your filming is done, Riverside has some more things it can do in post production and in editing and things like that. So Ecamm, that's not Ecamm's strongest suit, but Ecamm has been focused on making you look good while it's happening, and I think it's probably the best for that purpose. And I think that's what you want to do in the first place. So I think that right now, Ecamm is the way to go.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And yes, I think starting next week we should be able to take a look at the Riverside of things when Sean takes over the hosting. I have the answer from Nick. So Nick says he has a Mac Mini M2 Pro. So you should be good. You have more than enough power to run Ecamm. Feel free to test it, but if you have any question, if you want to drop it in there, feel free to do so. But I will try to see if I can show you how your show would run. For instance, right now there's Glenn and me. I think it sounds like, Nick, your show seems to only have people on actually in the studio. I don't think you have any call-in participants as far as I see the YouTube recordings that you've shown me. There's only live co-hosts and no people that you need to call. So if that's good, let me know. Of course, I want to give Nick a little moment to answer, also because there's a slight delay, slight latency, so about sometimes up to 15 seconds. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to answer that, and you can create your template, your I guess your layout the way you want it to be. I'm gonna give you a quick, or maybe how about, I think I want to hear, because Glenn, you also use Ecamm to record your podcast, and maybe
Yeah, you can. Yeah, actually, it is designed to record. You're designed to go live and record while you're going live. You can record without going live.
But how's your podcast? Like, are you one person, or do you have a co-host? What is your setup?
I have 4 different podcasts designed. I have not actually done it yet. I am setting up my first interview for next week. So beginning next week, I'm going to put all this knowledge to work. But of the 4, I am planning eventually for at least, well, no, all of them will be live once they're all once I have enough inventory in videos. All of them will eventually be live for some particular, but I will be using YouTube to go live with. I'll always just go straight to YouTube.
And you have co-hosts or no?
I am collaborating on one of them. I'm collaborating. The other 3, I'm going solo. Well, actually, on 2 of them, I'm solo. On one of them, I'm the host, but it's going to be it's one that's aimed at chess. And I'm getting together like 3 or 4 of my chess associates, and we're going to sit around in the room. We're going to talk about chess for 30 minutes, and I'm going to kind of be the MC for it.
Okay. We do have sounds like we have some information from Nick. Let's see what he says here. So the only way to call in right now, so there's call in. The only way to call in right now is with our phone line, and we have 4 mics running through the RØDECaster Pro 2. Okay, so that means if you have the opportunity for people to call in, using video, would you do it? Now, if the answer is yes, then Ecamm Live is definitely a good way to do it. I'm gonna I have some information I'm gonna show you, and you can ask question. I'm gonna switch over to my demo view. So this is what you're gonna see now. Don't let all the windows scare you. So what you see here is you'll have the middle piece here. This piece right here in the middle is the canvas, or the main window or something. This piece right here, and you have all the information that you can click on, and all the information on the side will go through one by one. When there are scenes, same thing on OBS. This scene pen window is this one right here. I'm floating it here. This is the scene window where I have all my scenes built up, so I can click. If I just want to switch back to myself, I can click on this and it switches me back to this scene. I want to go back to the previous scene, I'll come back to here. And within the scene itself, so keep it simple. This is just a scene with me on it. And then there is my lower third, my name lower third. And to the right of the scene is overlay. So think of overlay as your layers within the scene. And in here, you see one that says show in all scenes. This is one of them, show in all scene. That means every scene you switches to, it will show up as well. So that's what you see here, my ticker and some of the overlays that I would like to have shown, even without me being even with different scenes showing up. I want those, like the ticker, for instance. When I turn on the ticker, it's this particular scene right here, and then underneath it is my lower third. So if I turn off my lower third, I click the eyeball, that turn it off. I can also turn it back on, and all that can be mapped to my Stream Deck. So I have a Stream Deck as well. So when I have it connected to my Stream Deck button, I can just hit a button and it will turn it on or off without me having to look down and click at or look in the screen and click that. But you don't need to have it, but you could do that. Same thing with my ticker. I can turn it on or turn it off that way. And so that is pretty much simply that way. Now, my callers, if you can see on the left side, I have a Zoom call right here. This window is anybody who call in. So anybody who utilizes the Zoom call button to call me from my website will show up here. Once I add them into the call, they will be here and the video will be here. As you can see, Glenn is now joining us, and therefore you see a tiny little picture there. Now, the good thing about that is if you now look at this camera switcher here. Camera switcher is where I can actually assign Glenn to be one of the camera. He happens to be camera B last week, so we continue. He just popped into camera B immediately, and you can then do camera switching. So if I want to go to a different scene, so I'm going to go to this scene, for instance. If I want it to be me and him, I will click with key. I can just do all him. And I can do all me. I just click on that. If I want to do him and me, I will hold down shift and I click, I get 2. And if I want my RØDECaster feed to be on there too, I have this RØDECaster up here so that I can show people what to do. I can quickly just click on that and show people what to do here on the different settings. I can do that. So you can do all sorts of different layout, but seeing what you are doing, this is great for live switching. So if I want to immediately talk to you and I want to add, Glenn to the picture, I can. And if I want to add, switch back to my RØDECaster camera, I can do that. And that is great for live switching, but it does not need to be that way. You could also build scenes. And I'm going to go into a scene where it is just me and say one of the guests. So I'm going to go to this scene. I'm going to come out of live demo mode. So now you should see me and a different guest. I'm going to duplicate this scene so that I can demo it for you and see how we can make this work. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'll call this like a demo for Nick. And I'm going to do this live for you. So this is my window, and you see my guest window. This is a separate window entirely. This is my window. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make it smaller. So I can see, I remember seeing Nick's show earlier on YouTube. So you have yours kind of big up here, and then you have like a graphics underneath. So you can build it here. You can customize the various different layout. So for instance, I'm going to make Glenn a little smaller, and maybe you have 3 other guests, I believe so. So you can I hold down option key. I can build another guest showing up there. I can build yet another one. I can change the size of the camera if I would like to. And you can also build other elements to it. Like for instance, if I want to add a border to my to my, I'm going to switch to demo mode again. You'll see now, if I click on this window and I click on this and I want to do a border, for instance, with a red color border, that will show up. You can choose whatever color you like, choose obviously things that's, go well with the theme. If you want your corner to be rounded, you could also do that, round your corner a little bit. And then you can also copy the style and paste the settings onto the other windows. And then immediately you have, and I'm building all this live. So you can create a layout for your show very quickly, and then you just assign the camera. So let's say, Glenn, we have, let's say we think that we have too many Glens.
The world can barely handle one, John. This is in no way a good idea.
It's either two Glens or two me. So
plus I can barely take care of one. So
so now I'm gonna add. Okay, now there's two me. So now very quickly you can. So what you can see here is I can grab the camera source and drop it into those windows, and immediately it created a new layout for me. If this is the only layout you need, that you don't need to switch to other layout, awesome. But I occasionally want to do this. Let's say I'm talking. I want to be able to switch to when I'm prominent on screen. So I will click here and it shows me up on screen that way. I'm going to come out of demo mode now. Then if I want to go back to the previous scene where you had it, Nick, you can then go back. So one caller's talking, you want to switch to, not caller, one co-host is speaking, you want to switch to that co-host, you can easily do so. So you can preset them up if you have the same co-host. You can preset them up. Each scene can have one co-host, and whoever is talking, you will switch over there. Let's say if Glenn is speaking, I will switch over to him. If I'm speaking, I'll come back up here. If I want to go back to the group, for instance, that I just made up earlier for you as a demo, I can go back there, and now you can switch from scene to scene. So what helps is that people pay attention. If let's say I'm talking and I want to switch over here and people are paying attention to what you're talking about, and then you switch back to the whole group's discussion this way. So that's it's quite easy compared to OBS. If you know how to use OBS, I use OBS for years. I think, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe. And can I handle it? Yes. But now I find myself using more of Ecamm switching because I'm able to, because it feels a little bit, I have a little bit more mental space to do all that. Okay, so I'm gonna see what Nick has follow up here. So also, can I go live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time? Yes, you can. Okay, yes, you can. Let me switch to my demo mode again. So we'll switch to the demo mode and I'll show you what's in here. So if I go to my preferences, I can do destination. I set up my destination. These are all my various different destinations. So it has my YouTube, it has my Facebook, my various different YouTubes, my Facebook account, my Facebook personal account, my Facebook pages. So when I do my broadcast for my podcast, I stream to both YouTube and Facebook typically. So yes, the answer is yes. You can do that all from one device. Of course, provided if you have the internet bandwidth to handle that. And of course, there's also the new requirement with Facebook. You got to have, I don't know, like how many followers, and also you have to have the account active for how many days. I can't remember what the requirements are, but that if you meet all those requirements, yes, you can send to multiple destination. In fact, you can even send it to X. If you want to do Twitter Spaces or X Spaces, you can do that as well. And any RTMP location, you can send out your feed to, LinkedIn for that matter. So yes, you can do that. Okay, let's see what your question is. I'm loving this so far. I'm excited to try this out. Yeah, and feel free to. And if you want to, I mean, the one way to support the channel, and this is goes out for Nick and for everyone else, is if you want to try out the software Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live, I just started using it and I have my affiliate link. So if you go to my website, if you go to learnertolearner.com, if you scroll down for this month and month of July, there is a 30% discount. You don't even need to use any code. It's just full month, all month long. But if you use my link, they know that I sent you. I introduced Ecamm to you. So you can do that as well. So I can copy the link. I will put the affiliate link in the chat, learnertolearner.com/ecamm, and that will bring you to a page where they know that I sent you. But you will see that the discount code 30% off is all month long. Oh, I just realized there are 31 days in July, right? So there should be 31st, not 30th. I just caught my own typo. But try that out. It comes with 2 weeks of free trial, and it is completely full featured trial. I think it has an Ecamm icon on there when you live stream, but you can play with it as much as possible. The only downside is that I am going out of town very soon, Nick. So this is my out of town schedule here. I'll be going out of town next week. Other people, Sean will be hosting. I will be joining his feed, but I will be on a month break until I come back in August. So if you have any questions, I personally won't be able to answer you, but if you do get Ecamm, the Ecamm community is great. Join their Facebook group, just like how I met you on the RØDECaster group. So definitely check that out. Another thing that you want to also check out is to get your all your account that you want to broadcast to tested out and see before you actually start paying. That way you won't have to locked into paying for something that you won't be able to say go to your YouTube. I'm not sure how you're currently going to a YouTube page. Do you broadcast it to YouTube directly right now, or are you even doing it? If you want to do 2 locations, you could, as long as you fulfill the requirements. And another thing too is that when you are using the 30% off, it applies to your first payment. So obviously you want to test it out in the next 2 weeks. And when you do get it, it makes more sense if you want to keep it, is to use the 30% on the first payment for a yearly subscription rather than a monthly subscription. Otherwise, you're only getting 30% off of 1 month rather than the full year. So just keep that in mind. And I'll fix that website for July 31st instead of 30th later on. So hopefully that answers some of your questions, Nick. Go check that out. I will still be in town for the next 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Facebook, like how we've been communicating. That way, I can answer some of the questions that you might have before my trip. And of course, if I have the time, I can also hop on here and show you some of the Ecamm trick that I've learned just over the last few weeks. So now, going back to RØDECaster, because you also have a RØDECaster, there are some ways for you to connect your RØDECaster to your Ecamm. That's a whole separate conversation that you can come back and chat with us, because you can go as simple as, if you're just sending out your feed, you can just set it up the very basic way. Just pull the sound from your RØDECaster. You're doing all your mixing and all that. Your theme songs and your co-hosts are all coming in from your RØDECaster. You don't have to map your RØDECaster or your mixer separately or differently as how you would just piping the sound from your RØDECaster into Ecamm. Then you're set. It becomes a little bit trickier, like doing what I'm doing, because I also bring Zoom hosts, Zoom co-hosts, and Zoom guests coming into my show. So that makes things a little bit more complicated. I'm also a tinkerer, so I also like to tinker. I want to see, oh, what can I do? So there are times on what you can do here on Ecamm is you could also play video. So if you want to play a video that you want to play and you want to be able to control the sound from your video that you're playing with your RØDECaster's fader, then you want to map it a little bit differently. So when the time comes, we can talk more about it. But just so you know, you can always, Ecamm, you can start as simply as the very basic, or you can go even deeper, like how I personally would like to explore doing. All right. Now back to Glenn. I want to ask Glenn now. What are the few things that you feel like you've picked up that you are going to use for your podcast when it's ready to be recorded and ready to go live?
And that's a big question, John. I really have just tried to learn anything and everything that I can. Again, I've watched. If I got a penny for every YouTube video I've watched, I would still be rich.
On Ecamm or
No. Just going into YouTube and learning about all, because
everything.
I have taken the position I want to know everything. So I have learned. I've developed my own website. I've designed my own websites. I've done everything with the design of for Ecamm. I have set up my social channels. For my coin podcast, it's the one that's almost ready to go. That's the one I'm going to start next week. I've done all the scenes. I have I don't know if Nick is still listening, but
Yeah,
I wanted
he's still
to
here.
let him know that uh, uh, where John was showing you how to switch scenes in Ecamm Live, you can also do that either with a Stream Deck or what I have recently done is set up my smart pads on my RØDECaster 2 to do the scene switching for me, and it's working pretty nicely. So
That's right, using these buttons.
yeah,
right here.
yeah. I've got all my scene switching set up for that, and so and actually that was one of the things that I wanted to go over this week. We ran out of time last week, but I'm having sound issues, and
Oh.
I want because remember I was trying to play some of my sound effects.
Oh yeah.
And
And we
I
didn't
can
hear
hear
you.
them, but you can't hear them for
Okay, yeah,
some
we
reason.
can definitely do that. Even if we don't get to fully talk about this right now, we can kind of spill over to our sound check room in a bit too.
Okay.
I do have a question from Nick that I think it's worth talking about. Let's see. I'm gonna bring this up. He said, "Last question. Last question. What lights are you using? Your face is so bright and clean looking." I think it's years of facial. Just kidding. I actually, it'll be kind of funny. I don't have the setup to really show you, but I'll tell you what my setup is. In fact, I've been looking at upgrading my system, but I thought, it's been working so well that maybe I shouldn't. So we're talking about my lighting setup for my face. So let's say if we turn off the background light, like turn the background off completely, so it's just me. It is funny enough, it's an IKEA lantern. You know those cheapo lantern lights that you get from IKEA, where it's just like a big paper ball. I put 2 light bulbs in there. It's Wi-Fi controlled, and I will turn the lights on and off that way. So that's a light I have. Now, I did get a lot of tips from my photographer friend who, he's a cinematographer. So he gave me some tips, and I've also doctored it up a little bit. I wish I can show you better of what I have. Next time I'll say, oh, maybe I'll use this camera. We'll see if I can use this camera and show you what I have because it's very janky. Let me show you. So I'm gonna use this camera. I'm gonna flip this up. I will see if I can zoom out. And this is my ceiling. This is my ceiling. And this is the globe, my little paper lantern. And I use black duct tape, taping it all around. And to create just a tiny triangle hole where I can, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to turn, where I can just show that sliver of triangle shining on my face. So it's definitely not something, expensive. Definitely not something awesome, but it works for me. So that's what I have. So there are other lighting that I'm thinking about doing, but this is my cheap way of achieving what I'm creating right now. And since it's still okay, I do have a hair light. I do have a hair light right above me. I have, because my hair is so dark, I have a little hair light and a little bit of a shoulder to kind of pop myself out a little bit. So, yeah. That's so funny, but it looks amazing. Thank you. Now it makes me want to keep this lighting because I don't want to. It's literally, I don't know how much it costs, but it's IKEA. It's probably like under $15. The lantern itself. Okay, Ray's joining us. So that is my setup, and obviously we can still continue on our conversations. You can find me in about a month plus, back onto this channel, watching RØDECaster user meetup, and we can continue the conversation about Ecamm or your RØDECaster setup. So, okay, now I'm going to quickly say hi to Ray, and then we're going to hop on to talking about the RØDECaster question that Glenn has for me. Okay, hi Ray, just want to say hi quickly.
Yeah, hi John. You're getting ready to go on vacation, so next week is the no RØDECaster.
Next week, no show hosted by me. Next week should be Sean hosting it on Riverside. All the information will still be found on Learner to Learner, but if he's hosting, indeed able to host the show, you will still see the Clubhouse room being opened as well. So there should be no change.
Okay, because I'm not on Riverside. Do I need to be on Riverside in order to be?
You can find out more information. He is planning on hosting the Clubhouse room as well. So you should be able to continue tuning in from Clubhouse.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. What Nick says, I've seen some professional lighting studios and yours looks top 5. Thank you. I know, Nick, you're making me save a few $100 because I have been thinking about upgrading my light and now I kind of don't want to. Oh, but what camera do I use? I use a Lumix G7, Panasonic Lumix G7. It's a video camera, but I only use it as a webcam. I have it connected to a Camlink 4K, and I have a 20 millimeter pancake lens at f1.7. So I have a lot of, that soft, because my room is really small. My camera to my backdrop there is really close. I mean, I can literally touch the plant if I want to back there. So, and then I need a lot. If you want to have that soft fall off, you want to have a really fast lens. So I have a 1.7, f1.7, 20 millimeter Lumix lens. And that's what I have. And I have been the focus is crap. I've been saying this since the day I started using it. Focus is not great, but it's okay. I mean, sometimes I'm out of focus. If I don't pay attention, I don't see it. I've been thinking about getting the Sony ZV-E10 that a lot of streamers use. I've been thinking about getting that. I heard the rumor that there's one coming out soon, so I'm going to wait for that new one to come out. And maybe when the old one the market for old used ZV-10 is cheaper, I will probably get one or two. Okay, all right.
Your
Thank you
lighting
so
looks
much for
really
Nick.
good, John.
Thank
Your
you, Ray
lighting
Ray.
looks really good. Yeah,
Thank
you
you, Ray
just,
Ray.
yeah,
So now,
it
Glenn.
looks good.
Glenn, your last week, your question is whether or not you were trying to play your music. Can you do that again? See if you can hit
Yeah.
the button
So
and
it's
see
like
if I can hear.
like when I'm talking, I'm doing everything through my RØDECaster. You can hear me fine,
I
right?
suspect it's probably your Zoom setting.
Okay. But as far as my voice goes, you can hear my voice,
Yes,
right?
your voice is great.
Okay. Now, so if I play one of my sound effects by pushing one of my smart pads, I will be able to hear it.
Yep.
But others have been having trouble hearing it. Like it's like going out over I'm not broadcasting it, so to speak. So that's what I'm trying to. I want you to hear it. I want to hear it. I want you to hear it.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to achieve.
Okay, yeah, play it and see if I can even hear it. Last time we couldn't even hear.
I'm going to play my applause,
Okay.
and I am pushing it now.
Nope, I don't hear it. Now, I hear a tiny bit of it at the end. So what led me to thinking is you probably...
No. I didn't have my
fader
bar raised up.
Okay. You want to try again?
All right, let's try it again. Let's try it again. Here we go.
No, still don't hear it. So what could happen is probably your Zoom setting. So on Zoom, you can, let me see if I can do that. Zoom you are calling from regular Zoom, not
right.
Ecamm?
Yeah, I'm not coming through Ecamm because I didn't have the all the info. I just clicked on from learner to learner.
Okay, good, perfect. So I'm gonna see if I can switch this over to my Ecamm setting. So I'm gonna go to my Ecamm Live Zoom meeting window. So you should see yourself now.
Yes.
Okay. Then now on down here on the bottom where it says audio, if you click on the little triangle there, and go to I guess it's not showing you that, but go to audio setting. Once you click on your window and then click on audio setting, let me see if I can switch to my, is that my tertiary window? That could be my no, that's not my tertiary window. That's quaternary window. If I click on here and then come down to audio settings, you will get your audio settings for your Zoom, this one right here. Make sure under your audio panel, if you scroll down, you want to turn your background noise removal either to original sound for musicians, or you can choose Zoom background noise removal, but turn it down to low. Are you seeing that?
Right now, I'm set up with original music.
Okay, original music. So you're good. So you're good with that. Now, what about up here? Is it original sound for musician? Is it turned on?
That's what it says up there.
So it's turned on?
Yeah.
Oh, so you have this on?
Oh no! It's actually off for some reason.
So when it's usually off by default. So if you click on it once, it will turn on, and that should take care of. Now you are sending me the actual sound from your from your RØDECaster. So give it a try.
Okay, all right. Same thing. All right, here we go.
Yep, I hear it now.
Oh,
success.
Man.
So
why is that working again, John?
That is because Zoom is so good at removing all the noise that is not your voice. So all your sound effects, Zoom thinks it's background noise. So it removes all that but your voice. And that's why we didn't hear all that.
Okay, now but I thought that by selecting the original music in your settings, that would cure that.
Yeah.
But you're saying I have to actually click it up top
Yes.
to make sure it's on. So that doesn't turn it on.
Correct.
Turning it on is clicking it up top.
Yes. What you did inside the settings merely turns on the option for you to turn it on. So keep that in mind. That happens a lot, and it does not by default turn on. So you want to make sure in every meeting you have that turned on.
Now, would it make a difference if I was the host instead of a guest?
In Ecamm, I think it. You know what? You might be. Charles came in at the right time because Charles, I think we talked about this before. If you are a host, can you set so that your original sound for musician is always turned on in your meeting setting? I don't think you can. Somehow in Ecamm remembers. Ecamm Zoom remembers to turn it on for me.
So every time I do this, I might have to remember to click it on.
Yes, I would at least start checking yes.
Okay.
If you do it from the Zoom client, for sure you will have to. Yeah.
Okay.
Charles,
I'm having another issue with sound, but if you wanted to do something else right now, that I understand.
Well, wait. Let's move. Let's save that and for sound check, and then we can talk more about it since we're near the ending of this show.
Sure. It is.
Holy
cow, it's been a fast hour.
I know it's been a fast hour. The first 20 minutes was me talking by myself. You're gonna have to go back there and grade my talking to myself performance. But Charles, I was gonna tell you that in the Zoom that is inside of Ecamm, every time I start a meeting, it always remembers my original sound. It always turned on my original sound. I'm not sure if that's
nice.
I'm not sure if that's the case for the Zoom client, or do you? No, it's not. Okay, so somehow you should try it and see if that's the case for you, and then you can come back and report to us and see if you use the Zoom built inside of Ecamm. If once you turn on original sound, will that stick? So let me know if it.
Yeah,
if
I'll
it
have
does.
to check that out.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Okay, so I will end for now, and I will catch you all later on the other the other show in a few seconds. And if you're on Zoom, Charles and Glenn, just hang tight, and you all will see you on the next show on Soundcheck. Bye. And by the way, holiday schedule. Go to my website, learnertollearner.com to find out more.